Hey, and what's up, gang? Thank you once again for tuning back into the channel today on this very beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning here in New York City. We are here to talk about the United Kingdom Championship Special and go over NXT TakeOver Chicago, and let's do all that right here and right now on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
What is up, everybody? Thank you once again for joining us right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, available only on YouTube.com on the Sledgehammer TV YouTube channel. I am Nick Nightmare, your host with the most as always, and as promised, we are going to deliver. The first portion of this show is dedicated to our subscribers and our fan base in the United Kingdom. I can only hope that the interest in this show is as high in the US as it probably is over there. It's very high in this portion of the United States, in the Nightmare Room, in my house. The United Kingdom is going to be a mainstay show. Because let me tell you something, before we get into the actual show, this is why I love the UK wrestling style. It harkens back to a time where wrestling was absolutely awesome. And wrestling was about wrestling. Their matches remind me of the old school classics that we would get from Bret Hart and guys like Chris Benoit. A lot of it reminds me of the ECW stuff we used to get with Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero. It's those style matches that you get when you watch a UK fight. It's grinding and focusing on body parts and ground and pound and very, very stiff shots. UK strong style, if you will, as I've heard it be referred to. It's just an absolute thing of beauty. And these guys that the WWE has gone out and acquired for this section of the company, the United Kingdom representation, they're all absolutely phenomenal. They're all out of this world. And none better than Pete Dunne. I am so high on Pete Dunne, and it sucks to me because it seems like everybody is. And sometimes I feel like I like the people that, you know, most people don't gravitate towards. But Pete Dunne is the quintessential pro wrestler. He is absolutely terrorizing. He's brute force in a small package. He's unbelievable. He calls himself the Bruiserweight. It is a great moniker for him. He's got that kind of a face. You know what I mean? He's just got that kind of face. Like, even when he's happy to be part of something like the UK Championship Tournament or whatever, he just looks miserable. He looks like he hates the world. He says the UK Championship is his and everything is his. Everything. And I love that kind of an attitude. He is the absolute standout so far, and he has been since I first seen him in the original United Kingdom Tournament special that aired a few months ago. But the UK Championship Special is just a precursor to much more to come, and I cannot wait. Norwich, England hosted the UK Championship Special that was very, very well called by the legendary Hall of Famer JR and Nigel McGuinness, who is fantastic doing his job as well. The first matchup of the night went one-on-one, Wolfgang versus Joseph Connors. Wolfgang looks like he could be my neighbor. He looks like the guy that wants to ride a motorcycle, drink his beer, mowing his lawn, you know, with his music out to here. I like him. He's a likable guy. And he's talented. And man, is he strong. And as we said, he went one-on-one against Joseph Connors, who looks like a psychotic serial killer to me. There's something about his look. There's something in his eyes. Never mind the fact that he's missing half his ear like Mick Foley. He looks like a damn nut job. And I absolutely love him. His wrestling style is insane. This match, like I was saying, went long. It was tough. It was hard hitting. These guys really, really ground each other, man. It was unbelievable to watch. I was invested in it from start to finish. This was only the beginning of the show. Wolfgang would fly off the top turnbuckle with his finisher called the Howling. Fantastic move for a big man. Gets the 1-2-3, defeating Joseph Connors in the opening contest. Fantastic match. Next up came a tag team special attraction. We had most of the guys from the Cruiserweight division show up for this one. We had the Brian Kendrick and TJP going one-on-one against Rich Swann and Dan Maloney. Now, before I get into this at all, I would like to probably think that the WWE is very high on this Dan Maloney guy. And I could see why. He was very good. And there's a lot of potential in Dan Maloney, which is the only reasoning I could think of for him being put in this match as the sole representative of the UK division in this match. It must have been just to elevate his stats so that we can see him, on the same level as the rest of the competitors involved in this matchup. And they did not disappoint. This match was absolutely fantastic. Maloney and Rich Swann seemed throughout the entire match to have the number of the Brian Kendrick and TJP, and definitely looked like they were going to pull out the victory, but the heel tactics of the Brian Kendrick and TJP would allow them to come away with the win, as Brian Kendrick would maneuver Dan Maloney on the inside and catch him in an inside cradle for a quick roll-up victory out of nowhere. The Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins, TJP, defeat Dan Maloney and Rich Swann. Great match. Another great match. Did not disappoint. This, by far, was my favorite match of the night, of course. Pete Dunne going one-on-one against Trent Seven in a match to determine the number one contender for the United Kingdom Championship, currently held by Tyler Bate, who will defend his title later in the evening against Mark Andrews. This match between Pete Dunne and Trent Seven just goes to illustrate everything I said at the very beginning. It was absolutely fantastic. Pete Dunne does this move that I thought I came up with this move. Now, it's kind of ignorant to believe that, but being a wrestling fan my whole entire life and playing all the 2K games and whatever, and playing with figures as a child, I used to try to come up with my own finishing move. And once upon a time, as I was doing a Create a Wrestler, and they had the Create a Maneuver feature for once in 2K17, I came up with this move where I'd pick the guy up into a suplex and then turn it somehow into a powerbomb, which is his signature maneuver. And the way he does it is absolutely beautiful. And then he, of course, has that other crazy maneuver he does where he flips the guy up and over and then it ends up dropping it down into the... I forget what it's called, and I really, really am pissed at myself for that. I believe he calls it the bitter end. And it's just absolutely fantastic. This match was back and forth. Both of these guys looked absolutely fantastic. Pete Dunne, in the end, with... Yes, I was right. With the bitter end, taking Trent Seven out. Big things in the future for that guy as well. Pete Dunne, crowned the number one contender, will get a shot at whoever the champion would be at the end of this night, which leads us to the final match of the evening for the UK Championship. Tyler Bate versus Mark Andrews, TNA's former Mandrews. I know they don't go with that, but I like to call him Mandrews, so we're going to call him Mandrews. And this match, again, two smaller guys, very similar in stature, although I loved JR's reference saying that Tyler Bate has a very Bob Backlund-esque physique, which is very true. He's just got that stocky type of monkey body going on, and Bob Backlund had the same type of physique and figure, and he does justice to it. He's an absolutely fantastic talent, Tyler Bate. Mark Andrews, Mandrews as well, he was absolutely fantastic. I sat there throughout this matchup pretty much just ping-ponging just like, oh my god. This match was fucking fantastic. Everything that was put on by the UK special and the UK tournament, and even the UK match for the title at NXT TakeOver, which we're going to get to in just a bit, they're hard to talk about. They're those kind of matches. Each and every one of them was so damn good that there is no way I could even do them justice. If I had the match written up right here on my notes, if I had it written out, move for move, and performed it to the best of my ability with using my comic ability and voices and whatever, I still could never be as good in my describing to you these matchups. They were absolutely fantastic. I urge each and every one of you in the United States and all over the world, if you have the WWE Network and you have not watched this yet, you need to watch it right now, because this style of wrestling is absolutely beautiful. It is pro wrestling. This is what the WWE is supposed to be giving us. NXT is very close to that. It's just a completely different vibe. It's absolutely feels more legit. The guys are really hitting each other and nobody's caring about not that they're not caring about safety, but they're just not caring about taking the hits. They want to be the best match on the card. Each and every talent that stepped foot in that ring throughout this entire show just absolutely floored me. Absolutely floored me. Every match was fantastic. The psychology behind them all was beautifully crafted. Everything was just very, very, very well produced. I loved the segments to get to know the competitors. Right before the match, they show a nice little package featuring this guy. They show a nice little package featuring the other guy, so we get to learn more about them. We get to choose which one we kind of want to root for, and then we go with it. It's absolutely beautiful, and I don't know why they're not implementing that kind of a structure on SmackDown Live and on WWE's main show of Monday Night Raw. They have been using it a little bit on NXT. We've seen the packages for Roderick Strong. We're going to, as I said, get into that in just a minute. And obviously, as you guys know at this point, Tyler Bate defeated Mark Andrews in an absolutely fantastic match to close the show, leaving Pete Dunne going one-on-one with Tyler Bate in a rematch from the finals of the UK tournament for the UK Championship at NXT TakeOver Chicago, which happened last night. And it was another absolutely great show. I'm going to be honest with you, as I said in the review, it's one of those shows that there's a lot of star power that was not put on the show. And there are guys like Hideo Itami, who I was not interested in seeing, and Roderick Strong, who I was not really feeling too much, and just he felt too generic to me, as does Hideo Itami. And I'm here today to tell you guys that I'm going to eat my words, because both of these guys put on one hell of a show. As NXT TakeOver Chicago was another fantastic outing by the Yellow Brand, Triple H and the boys putting on a show that is going to be very hard for Backlash to follow from start to finish. Absolutely fantastic, with a controversial and newsworthy ending that you cannot miss. So if you have not seen it and you want to watch all of it before you hear me talk about it, go back and do it right now, and then come back and hit that like button and subscribe so that you can come back and hear more from me. I'm giving you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. I know there was a fast count, but hey, I got to get things rolling. You had your chance. If you don't want to be spoiled, go back and watch it, because I'm talking about it right now. As we got started off in the evening with Roderick Strong versus Eric Young. Roddy Strong, as I previously just said and said in the preview and prediction show, was not a fan. I am now a fan. I was also wrong on the outcome of this match, as EY would end up losing to Roderick Strong. No matter what he brought to the table, you definitely had outside interference by Sanity during this match. Nobody came out to help Strong. He single-handedly pretty much took out the 3 members of Sanity, including Eric Young, in an absolutely fantastic match. It was back and forth. It was very, very well thought out. Eric Young is a fantastic heel. He knows how to play heel. The match was back and forth, and at one point, EY was just on top of everything. And he looked as if he was going to get an easy win. But Roderick Strong just would not give up, and he kept coming back and coming back. And let me just let me just stop a minute and give proper appreciation to this man's finishing move. And Roderick Strong does this flipping suplex into a falling double knee backbreaker a la the Code Breaker from Chris Jericho that just had my jaw agape. I was just like, and I don't know if it's because I haven't paid as much attention. It's possible that he's done this before, but like I said, I just wasn't invested in Roderick Strong, but I am now. This match was absolutely crazy. The amount of knee strikes that were thrown in this match, I thought somebody was legit gonna lose a jaw. It was fucking fantastic. But Roderick Strong gets the win over EY. Great match. Which brings us to what I am going to go on record and saying was the absolute best match I've seen all year so far. And I don't care what anybody has to say. If you think I'm wrong, shout me out in the comments. Get active. Let me know what you guys think, because Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne was an absolute roller coaster match. Back and forth it went. It was absolutely epic. The momentum swings were crazy. The moves were out of this world. The performances between the two men are top notch. Another one of those matches that you just can't talk about. There was almost nothing wrong with it. It was flawless. At one point, the smaller, younger champion had gotten locked up in a triangle choke and got to his vertical base and ended up lifting Pete Dunne up like Batista would do, you know? But Pete Dunne is almost 3 times the size of Tyler Bate. At least that's what it appears when you look at them one-on-one. Picked him up and you could see the power that this little man possesses, and ended up getting out of it with a powerbomb maneuver. It was so impressive. Unbelievable. Back and forth it went right down to the end. Standing ovation from the crowd 3 times during this match. They were giving so much proper time to build the story on this match, and it was beautiful. Go watch it right now. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you don't know what you're missing. It was absolutely epic. Fucking beautiful. Hats off to both competitors, and in the end, Tyler Bate would lose. No matter how much he tried to come back, Pete Dunne was just too much for him this night. You know, they didn't have to go through a tournament. They weren't through a weekend's worth of competition this week. Both men came into this match fresh, and I think that was to Pete Dunne's advantage. He already had to beat 3 other men in this tournament within the span of 24 hours. This time he had a whole week to get ready. He took care of Trent Seven last week, and he had a whole week to prepare himself for Tyler Bate, and there was no way the Bruiserweight was not walking away with the title in his teeth, and it was absolutely the best match of the night. Talk about making a name for yourself. Dunne and Tyler Bate kicked the doors down for you guys in the UK division. If you can keep bringing us quality matches like that, and I know each and every one of them have it in them, because as I said in the UK series, every single match felt like that. Just absolute barn burners. Fucking fantastic. Go check it out if you haven't. Pete Dunne, your new United Kingdom champion. Well deserved. Hats off to you, Pete Dunne. The women's triple threat match was almost just as exciting as the UK Championship match. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the chemistry between Asuka and Nikki Cross that just gets me. I just get locked in. Throw in Ruby Riott and her weird face, and you had the makings of a very explosive contest. And you almost had me on the edge of my seat. Like, I walked into this thing knowing Asuka was not going to lose, which she didn't. But there were quite a few times where I'm like, holy shit, she might lose. Like, they might do something interesting. Maybe because Ember's out, maybe they're going to switch things up. Maybe they're going to shake it up. But I don't want Asuka to lose at all. I want Asuka to take on all challengers, including Ember Moon, upon her return, and absolutely destroy them. And I want her to take the NXT Women's Championship and hand it back to William Regal and say, It's time for me to move on. You don't have enough competition here for me. Nobody's as good as Asuka. And allow her to elevate herself to whatever show, SmackDown or Raw, as the undefeated badass champion that's going to come in there and tear them up. Take the championship from somebody and continue this run. Allow Asuka to have this historic type of a thing. She deserves it. There's not a talent on the women's division like her. She is absolutely the most dominant female wrestler I have ever seen. Ever. And she deserves all the accolades she gets. This match was proof even more of that, as she made both of these girls look absolutely fantastic. She put herself in the position to look weak, but still came out on top in the end, which is what a true champion would do. Win at any cost. It was a great match excuse me, for the women. Asuka, of course, comes out on top. That's really all you need to know. The move sets and all that, it all comes with the territory. They did some great stuff. They out-wrestled some of the men on the main roster of Raw. An absolutely fantastic match. Asuka retains the Women's Championship. Bobby Roode, the glorious one, versus Hideo Itami. Ends up being a great match. But my favorite thing about this whole match was just absolutely how sick that glorious DDT he hit to end this match and retain the heavyweight championship was. It was absolutely glorious. The elevation, the impact, the height, it was just graceful and beautiful, and especially coming immediately out of one. Bobby Roode, even though his arm was very hurt, struggled to get Hideo Itami into a glorious DDT, would then roll himself without releasing Hideo Itami and execute it again to absolute perfection. I've never seen it done so well. It was beautiful. It got me to jump right out of my seat, and I was like, woo, that was fucking awesome. It was beautiful. And Hideo Itami, I'm sorry, buddy, but your ship has sailed, and that's the end. Bobby Roode remains the glorious NXT champion in a very good match. Hideo Itami looked great. He, like I said, making me eat my words. I'm still not a fan. It's not like I'm jumping on board the bandwagon off of one match, but he definitely impressed me with his performance tonight. But the tag team ladder match is, again, and I can't stress this enough, D.I.Y. is one of the greatest performing tag teams I've ever seen. You could put them in there against Akam and Rezar in the Authors of Pain. You could put them in there against the Revival. You could put them in there against Enzo and Cass, or any of them, and you would get the match of the night. And it was almost good enough to top the UK Championship. I still put that one on top. That match was absolutely epic. But this match is just needles away from being better. Just needles away. Because the match itself was a sadistic symphony of beautiful brutality. And you could coin that because I came up with it. It's what it was. It was like listening to a great song. It just came up into the verse and then dropped you with the chorus, and then you got a nice little bridge in the middle where things get a little bit crazy, and then you go back into the meat of it with the verse, and then they beat you down again with the chorus, and then at the end, shock and awe that cannot be replicated. Absolutely fantastic ladder match put on by these four guys. Again, just the theme of the whole two shows, just back and forth offense, high impact, very, very painful maneuvers, and the way they used the ladders was reminiscent of classic TLC stuff. There was one moment where one of the Authors of Pain had the ladder on his head and was ready to go and do that crazy spinning spot, but D.I.Y. hit him each from one in each corner, sandwiches him with kicks to the face with the ladder around his head. Lots of great shit like that. We had, at one point, Tommaso Ciampa come up from behind one of the big men who was on the ladder and suplex him off of the ladder onto and through another ladder, completely obliterating the ladder in the corner. Lots of fantastic spots like that. And in the end, although they came this close, D.I.Y. would be foiled by an interfering Paul Ellering, who would stop Johnny Gargano from going up to the top and grabbing those belts, eating a super kick to the face, or this, sternum area, because he didn't really kick him too hard in the face. Paul Ellering would roll to the outside and allow for his boys the momentary distraction, just enough to end up getting the win, climbing the ladder, pulling those belts down, and defeating D.I.Y., who would then have a tremendous standing ovation by the NXT faithful in in Chicago, and they would make their way up to the ramp, soaking in all the adulation from the crowd, hugging, holding hands, all the good tag team stuff, raising hands, not holding hands like lovers, raising their hands up together like tag teams, pointing to the other guys, this was great, we did our best type deal. Then they hit the top of the ramp, and Ciampa turns on Johnny Gargano, absolutely throws him face first into the stage, commences with a beatdown, ends up hitting him with his signature move off the ramp through some tables on the outside, taking Gargano out. Tommaso Ciampa certainly deciding to do it yourself, and that he does not need a partner, and we will learn more about the reasoning behind this. And let me tell you something. If you have not watched the Cruiserweight Classic and you did not see Gargano versus Ciampa in that tournament, please go back and watch it and let me know what you think of it, because that is what we're in store for. We are going to get a bunch of these matches now with these two guys as rivals. Talk about good friends, better enemies back in the day, right? Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels, this is going to make that look like nothing. These guys were a great tag team. They were almost like brothers. The history between the two of them. And whatever's gotten in the craw of Tommaso Ciampa, I'm sure he will let us know within the next couple of weeks. And we are going to see Ciampa versus Gargano. Which also means that little singer girl who tweeted out last week and wasn't supposed to. There was some girl, I forget her name now, I'm sorry, but she tweeted that she was singing Johnny Gargano's new theme song for when he enters the ring. The tweet has since been removed from Twitter, and it leads to the fact that she was pretty much spoiling everything, because D.I.Y. is no longer a tag team. They have officially dissolved at the hands of Tommaso Ciampa following their loss in the ladder match main event for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And that's pretty much it for the two shows. I know I may sound a little repetitive and keep saying the same things like fantastic and blah blah blah, but when you watch these things as much as people like you and I do, and you see something so great, it's very hard to describe. Like, it's hard for a person to describe their favorite movie, because it's, might not be the same for somebody else. You might not understand why this movie or this match or this wrestling style or this superstar is so resonant with the other person, because you don't feel the same way that I do. You're not looking for the same things that I am, most likely, because each person is an individual and we all want what we want. But the UK and NXT gives me what I want, and to such a level that I can't even talk about it. It gets my brain to freeze, because it was just so damn good. How do you explain how beautiful some of these moves are? You can't. There are no words in the English or American or Chinese or Spanish, Russian, or Italian dictionary that can do it. They might sound nice, but they're not going to do justice in accurately describing what the hell I was put through this week and how absolutely beautiful all the wrestling was on both of these shows. Absolutely fantastic. That's going to do it. That is our reviews for both of these shows. 2 thumbs way up. Fine holiday fun. Fantastic. Thank you guys all once again for joining me and tuning in. If you liked everything, again, don't forget to hit that little thumb. Give me that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you always for joining us. For Blue, the Snowball Microphone, I am Nick Nightmare. Don't forget to check out later on tonight or tomorrow the Backlash review, because we are just a few hours away. I'm looking at an imaginary watch. Did you catch that? Just a few hours away from absolute nothing. Backlash coming at us tonight. Should be a good show. Looking forward to it. I'm Nick Nightmare. This is Blue Snowball Microphone. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. Have a good one, everybody. And we are out of here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.